Hello there. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Great. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Kevin Calhoun, and I am an entrepreneur, hotel owner, and commercial real estate developer.
Wow. Okay. So, Kevin, can you please tell everyone how did you get started in as an entrepreneur, and also how did you get started in hotels and real estate?
Yeah. So I actually got started. I've always had an interest in entrepreneurship, even when I was in college. And I really first started with some of my college friends. We started a private equity firm called New Freedom Ventures that invested in black, minority, female-oriented business. And so that's kind of how I got my start, was on the investor side, finding entrepreneurs and then investing in their projects and then learning their business through being an investor. And then in about 2015, 2016 timeframe, I decided to join my brother, who already had started his own commercial real estate company in Washington, D.C., to help him expand into the Southeast, where I live in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, so that sounds awesome. I've been so excited to talk to you about the hotel. So can you tell me what it's like to be a black hotel owner?
Right. So the reason why I got into hotels is actually, people are kind of surprised by this. We looked at getting into multifamily. My brother started a company doing fix and flip houses. And I said, well, that's great. It's project oriented. You finish a house, you sell it, you make a nice little pop, but then you got to go right back to that grind. So I said, we need something that stabilizes. It's got monthly income, revenue, things like that. So I said, well, that's either apartments or hotels we were looking at the time. And so the reason why we got into hotels is I'd had this concept back from when I was in college. And it was like, if you really want to help your people, then you need to be able to give them a job. And so I went into hotels because I would hire more people owning a hotel than I would own an apartment complex. And so I was inspired for two things. I said, well, I can hire young people to work the front desk that are college students up and coming and give them more of a shot than they would otherwise. I can hire people coming in from outside the country, immigrants, hardworking folks is looking for a chance. They can be in those service-oriented jobs, maids, cooks, those types of things. And for the professionals, I could find some director of sales, some general managers that were black or women that were never going to get the opportunity to go to the next level, to get into ownership, and I could provide that opportunity for them. And so that's what motivated me to get into hotels.
Man, that's a really inspiring answer. And this adds on to your value again, right? Okay. Because when I heard you talk about it and we were discussing so many things and you talked about being in a hotel, from my perspective, again, inspiring, but to hear the reason behind it is so valuable. I think that partnering with people and looking to help people with their upward mobility is the best way to become wealthy. So with that being said, what was the most challenging thing for you to do to acquire your first hotel?
Right. So the one thing they don't tell you is they always talk to you about the mechanics. They talk to you about what it's like to run a hotel. They talk to you about how to work with the different brands like Marriott and Hilton and others. But what nobody ever shares that already has a hotel and has the experience is the most valuable component, which is, how do you raise the capital to buy the thing to begin with, right? And they don't talk to you about banking. They don't talk to you about investors. And that nobody was willing to share that secret sauce. And so what happens is, when you're doing your first hotel, you really have to stumble through the school of hard knocks to try to figure it out. And it takes a lot of tenacity. And so one of my passions is making sure that the next enterprising, black hotel owner has it easier than I did by giving them the roadmap. But raising capital is the hardest thing, because the financial markets are the last frontier in America of trying to become equitable and an even playing field, because it's not, right? And so I won't lie to anybody and tell them that if you're a woman, if you're a minority, it's going to be as easy for you as it is for others. I'll drop a stat that is real, that actually speaks to that. So in America, there's multi-trillions of dollars that is spent on venture fund capital, entrepreneurship startups, tech firm startups, all that. Out of that, 2% of the trillions of dollars in venture fund capital goes to women-owned businesses. 1% goes to Black and Hispanic-owned businesses, right? Which means white males get 97% of all the other capital that's out in the market. And that's really the last frontier no one talks about, which is the economic investment gap that exists in America. Whereas if you are a minority, if you are a woman-owned business, the system is set up to purposefully not provide you the capital that you need for your business to grow, be sustainable, and to survive huge market interruptions like COVID, like the financial crisis. And that's why you see so many small businesses never last more than 5 years, is because they're undercapitalized.
Man, these are huge things of value that you're actually giving to us about these very important elements. So, Kevin, one last question for you, because I don't want to take up much more of your time. Since you and I have been able to connect, have I been able to bring any value to you since we've been in contact?
Oh, absolutely. And I think one of the things that's great about Nishan is that you have a passion and a sincerity that I picked up from the beginning of what you're trying to do, both for yourself, your family, but more importantly for others, is trying to succeed so that you can help others have a pathway for their excellence, and so folks can see that, hey, if I could do it, you could do it. And too often in our community, we don't do enough of that, and we don't think about the impact that has. And so for me, you've been a blessing. You give me new ideas, you give me new strategies, and I'm actually leaving Chicago energized for some things that I can do differently when I go home.
Thanks again, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Thank you.